Hello. I want to make a video about the Brittany Murphy case. I have been watching different documentary films on this case over the years, and recently psychologist Todd Grande talked about this case as well. And most people are very careful in getting into any kind of speculating or stuff like this. I'm not careful about speculating at all. I think we should be speculating. I think we should be talking about stuff. And there are some few people who talk more about those different things that touch on conspiracy, and usually people who get into conspiracy stuff get ridiculed, and I highly respect people who get into conspiracy stuff, because that's very courageous to be mentioning all of these factors that come to the surface. So I think it's very important, because all of those factors, whether that is about our own psychology or whether this is greed-based conspiracy that's going on in the world, corporate agenda, mafia, Rothschilds, whatever it is, Chinese bankers, believe me, there's a lot going on there. Don't underestimate people's greed, okay? So, and there is the corporate agenda, and they do corporate hand washing. It's very obvious, and they use politics as their tool for that. They use political parties. They use the electoral system for their own purposes. They use all kinds of things. They use viruses. They use riots. They use angry people that feel stepped on by others. They use all of this for their advantage. Trust me, and they will make people's hatred worse. They will put fuel into their fire, okay, to pave the way for their own conspiracy, getting rid of Donald Trump and getting a demented man into the White House. Not even the majority of people would be on board with this, and they were not, and they are not, okay? The reason why it came to this point is because the corporate agenda uses every technique they have, okay? So they use voter fraud, they do all kinds of things, and you should know that. And the reason why people are ridiculed for bringing these kind of things up is because the corporate agenda has market psychologists who know exactly how to make people feel ashamed about certain things. So they make people feel ashamed about being a whistleblower, and they label them Karen, so that's an extra that also they use every psychological means they have. It's deep psychology. I don't want to get into completely in that will just sidetrack me, but they will play out people's identifications, of course. A man being labeled a Karen is like a double insult, and so most people not even want to mention these kind of things, some kind of conspiracy or whistleblower removal, witness removal. They want to stay far away from that kind of stuff, because then they get ridiculed, because that's what the corporate agenda wants. They want you to be afraid to say anything about those kind of conspiracies, with governmental officials, that have vested interest and so on and on and on. But this is what's happening. It is what's happening. Okay, whether people like to believe it or not. Unfortunately, as Rockefeller said, every man has his price. So it's not 100% true, because there are some women who have their price too, obviously. Okay. And there are some very rare people who would never do anything terrible for any price. Okay, so that is the truth. Okay, so it's not that grim of a picture, but it is grim. It's very, very bad. It's very depressing. So about human psychology. So, but it's evolution. The human animal is greedy. Okay. It is what it is. It's like Eckhart Tolle said. If you look at it from the sky perspective, you see, are you going to get mad at the wind for pushing you into the ditch? No, because the wind is there. Okay, storms happen, and there are greedy people. It is what it is. Okay, so we can educate people. We can educate people on compassion and ethics. We can't force people to be ethical, but we can educate people on compassion, love, kindness, empathy. We can teach people what it is like to have empathy for another living being, and to want to make the world better, to see through more. So if I work for a corrupt company, I will be part of corruption. If I take bribe money, and if I let someone silence me for money, I'm part of the corruption. And it gets much worse, as you know. People get paid to murder people, and so I want nothing to do with that. If someone offers me money to keep silent, all of my alarm lamps come on, and I go, wait a minute, what's going on here? They know better not to ever offer money to a real caring Karen, because they know the real caring Karen, that's a good thing to be a Karen. The real caring person will ask questions then. Okay. And Brittany Murphy was a very deeply caring person. She was not a Karen as in being a whistleblower. She was not someone who would be quizzing people or who would be in people's faces, as I am, because she was so pleasing and so giving and so loving. But if you are just too loving and trusting and giving, you will get taken advantage of. There will be people that will fully exploit someone like this. Some people exploit their own daughters. Okay, some people exploit their own girlfriends. Okay, and that's what happened to Brittany Murphy. So I don't know. I don't. It's so incredibly depressing, this whole thing. I don't even know where to get started, really. But and I always saw when I saw her interview or saw her photos, I always saw this. I got some of that, for sure. But that was more like when I was very young. But she was very young, of course, So now she reminds me a whole lot of myself when I was very young. And So I don't know, when did I start to become more assertive? Much sooner than her. She never got to the point where she could develop assertiveness. She never got to the point of finding someone who would take her by the hand and say, hey, we gotta talk, you know. I'm gonna do some real serious assertiveness exercises with you here, okay? That's what I would do if I could go back in time with the time machine. I would go back in time to see Brittany Murphy land with the time machine on her front garden lawn or whatever. We can also do a healing session for that entire house there and for all the egos alive and in the beyond. So that's what would have needed. That's what would have been so necessary. Okay, so, but I would go back and I would say to her, okay, your life is in danger. Okay, you need to come to our therapy help center. If we had a therapy help center in every single community, okay, Bel Air needs like 10 therapy help centers because there are so many people in need of help. Okay. So because the air is not that bell in Bel Air. The air there is very thick with car smog and pollution and egos. Okay, so that's a fact. I've been there. I know. I have visited those places and some of those homes, and I can tell there's a lot of ego activity going on, and that needs to. And it's all out of, my gosh. I don't even know where to get started. I like 100 thoughts at the same time on this. This is very difficult for me to sort all of this out. I don't even know in which order also, because it's all so convoluted, the whole thing. So Brittany Murphy and her mother, who was a single mother, apparently the father was much older, and she broke up with Brittany's father when Brittany was like 2 years old or something, and they lived in New Jersey in a small house. So, but Brittany showed a talent from very early on, in singing, dancing, and acting, and being entertaining and wanting to please people, always wanting to. That's what angel souls do. They want to please people, and they're just all sweet, all the time. They never confront anyone. They don't have a Medusa in them, which is very dangerous, So, and up to a certain point, I guess the mother and the daughter got along because there was no rivalry in the beginning. But then at some point, when Brittany kind of took the mother with her to different places of dancing classes, and then eventually Hollywood, then got famous, then the mother was just not able to process that kind of fame. So then the mother was overwhelmed with this attention, and then the attention, and then all that's like the attention's like a drug. Okay, it really is. And it causes a dopamine high in the body. Okay, people get addicted to it just like a drug, just exactly the same way as they get addicted to gambling, because it causes a dopamine high. Okay, so then this fame became something that became a crutch, sort of, for it takes on the place of a crutch or exoskeleton that holds the person up, basically. And so then it becomes this necessity, It becomes like that's their life. Then that's their entire. That's what holds their brain together. Then in the end, So there's nothing else that has ever been exercised or practiced or healed or affirmed or grown in these people. Okay, they're thrown cold turkey into fame, and suddenly they think. Not Brittany. I'm talking about the mother, but talking about all people that are like the mother, who are obviously stagnator souls, beginner souls, baby souls, and they cannot deal with this. They don't see through this. They don't see through addiction, the danger of any kind of addiction. So then they also take these things. They take these things like that is like, they take it. They take this as that's their necessity. They take it as it's for granted. They take it as an identification, of course. They identify with this new persona that has evolved out of that situation for them. And then also what came then was, if the mind is not stable, if there's trauma, if there's a beginner soul, then the mother sees the daughter as a rival. The mother gets jealous of the daughter. These are just speculations. Okay, I am not saying, okay, this is now factual. This is total fact. I have given this diagnosis. No, it's written in concrete or something like. These are my observations. This is what I feel, see, sense about this case. I saw the photos of the mother. There's deceit in her face, in her eyes. I can detect that. There's also a lot of pain. There's denial. There is the dependency on the fame, dependency on money. There's jealousy, all of these things, okay? So she took Brittany's husband, the mother did, and that husband had guilt written into his face. So who knows, he may have already had an affair with the mother before Brittany died. Okay, so this is what it looks like to me. And so this is really what I set out yesterday that I wanted to talk about. This is really the main subject that I want, more than the conspiracy stuff that is involved in that case. I wanted to zoom in on Hollywood and on the enormous peer pressure that young women are confronted with. And there was a woman, one house past this one, in this direction there, who died from starving herself to death. Okay. Infinitely tragic and horrific. I've seen that girl. Very withdrawn, very shy, very, very much in denial, in this denial world, in this world. Wanting to be thin takes on a life on its own. It just rockets off, where it completely leaves any reason behind. It makes people see themselves as overweight when they're already skin and bones. That's what it does. It makes people really crazy, self-destructively crazy. And so Brittany Murphy was also forced and psychologically into being extremely thin, and Hollywood, the whole the whole conglomeration there forces people psychologically into becoming extremely thin. The entire fashion industry, except for the porn industry. Okay, so the porn industry is outside of that conglomeration, because the porn industry focuses on sensuality, and they are not skin and bones. Okay, because they focus on sensuality, so and sexuality and lust and pleasure and enjoyment and all of those kind of things. So they're not worried about the fashion industry and show business, Hollywood, and all of this. So, but in Hollywood, they have these completely sick standards for women in particular, and everyone who's involved in this and who gives into this becomes part of this mass neurosis. Okay, so some people may be kind-hearted, but they let themselves get peer pressured into it, and that's infinitely sad. Okay, so because Brittany Murphy was absolutely stunning, with a natural stunning body, naturally big boobs, naturally curvy, stunning body with right proportions, very sensual and everything. She started out with this film Girl Interrupted, where she was more like a normal weight, okay? But in Hollywood standards, that's being frowned on and looked down on as overweight. So yeah, we make you normal weight, healthy weight woman into the clown, because that's what we do in Hollywood. So, and that's what they do, and that's what they did, and so they gave her a bunch of clown roles in the very beginning, and she was still super sexy and gorgeous and glamorous and funny and cute and lovable. Of course, that got the attention of some other producers, and so that's how she moved up in fame. And I guess that Girl Interrupted, one of those, or Clueless, that those were the films that made her very famous, and then the other producers noticed her. But I would say she's already, she could have already packed on more pounds in the beginning. So I see it exactly reversed from Hollywood. So I think a woman should have some natural fat deposits. I find that healthy. I mean, not go the other extreme, not be obese. Okay? Obesity causes heart failure. It causes organ failure. Okay? It causes all kinds of health problems. But being underweight is also obviously a killer too. So anything from normal weight, well, what is regarded as normal weight. Healthy weight is someone who has little bit of a natural fat deposit, right? But is also athletic and does a lot of sports and stuff like this. So people like this live longer. It's obvious, I'm way overweight. But in Hollywood, they force these women psychologically into losing more weight, and they think this is somehow elegant or this is glamorous, and it is a mass neurosis that had been steadily going downhill, and a lot of women died because of this. So losing a lot of weight was definitely bad for her. That definitely caused some anemia. But her overweight husband also had anemia. So they died 5 months apart from each other, from exactly the same causes. And her biological father had her hair samples investigated. Hello, my love. Hello, my beautiful. Hello, my beautiful kitten. Yes, hello, my beautiful kitten is there. Yes, there is the beautiful kitten. This is my beautiful kitten. Yes. Oh, my beautiful kitty. I love you. I love you, my beautiful. You beauty, blue eyes. Yes, you are beautiful. Yes, I love you. You're playful. It's nice, is that? So, but just wanted to, I don't want to go into the witness removal yet. I'll get into this in a moment. I want to focus in on this enormous peer pressure. Okay, why is that happening? Why? This is a sickness. Okay? This is extreme mental illness. Okay, and why is this escalating like this? And why is Hollywood not understanding? Why are these people still there? I guess they're like old or something. They haven't caught on with what's healthier, or haven't caught on with the health movement, I guess. So they're still in their 80s type of way of thinking or something. But Hollywood is, in my view, is finished. It's coming to an end. It is outdated. We don't need it anymore. There's no need for it anymore. Hollywood, in the sense of Frank Lloyd Wright's architecture, yes, Blade Runner, yes, good movies that are beautiful, where the women are not malnourished, so beautiful films on love, compassion, ethics, and so on have been made in Hollywood, but they're rare, just as kind people are rare in the world in general. But the perfume from Michael Kors, very Hollywood, that is one of the good things about Hollywood. Michael Kors is nice. His models seem to be not total skeletons. They're very thin though, but not total skeletons, which I appreciate. So then the ones like Calvin Klein, Kate Moss, no, not okay. Okay, that is absolutely unhealthy. And Brittany Murphy had such an amazing body, and she should have shown that off, that body. She should have fed that body. She should have eaten. Eat, baby. That's what Mama tells you, okay? All of you out there. Eat, baby. Eat, Sandy. Eat. Eat, okay? Feed your gorgeous, precious, sexy body, okay? So you're a woman. Womb is in that word, okay? So we need to be padded. It's very important. Okay? Not obese, not 1,000 pounds. Don't do that. Or 10,000 pounds. No, don't do that. But don't be starving yourself and go underweight and ever, okay, ever. So the 200-pound range for women is okay. I'm already a little bit over that. The 200 pound also depends on our height, of course. But 200, that's about the range. 180, 200. I would say that is healthy. A physician might not agree with me on this, but Brittany Murphy starved herself, and it's infinitely sad. They also had a lot of pharma drugs in their house. The mother denied all of that because she didn't want the public to think that she had anything to do with this, or her pharma drugs had anything to do with it. But they did, it's obvious. And Hollywood is so much pressure. She may have started out being into health and all of that, and then because of the enormous pressure and then losing weight and aspiring to better roles. What are better roles? Is that a better role to play a skeleton? No, not in my view, for sure. It is infinitely sad when people are allowing other people to coerce them psychologically in any way. The red lamps, the alarm lamps should be coming on. If anyone, the husband or the mother or any kind of movie director or film crew or anyone, any friend says, you better lose more pound, blah, blah, blah. Don't listen, okay? The alarm lamps should be coming on with this. You need to say, I am badass, baby, the way I am, and I stay like that. Okay. That is the empowerment process. Okay, that is straightening out your spinal cord, literally. Okay, we need to straighten our spinal cord out, totally out. We need to lift our noses up in the air, and we need to snap those people that try to peer pressure us. Okay, we need to protect ourselves. We need to stand up for ourselves. This is very important. That's the kind of exercises I would do with Brittany if I could go back in time with the time machine. Okay, so that's what Teal Swan does with people. Mada has been doing workshops like this also to empower people like this. Okay, it's very important. Empower yourself. Yeah. And Tony Robbins, okay, Marina Abramovich does these kind of exercises with some people. She has some workshops where she empowers people with total mindfulness exercises, like exercise they do in Japan, like you sort out rice grains and stuff like this, to completely silence your mind, to completely get attuned to something that you are doing in this very moment without interruption from the ego coming in, the ego thinking, the monkey brain. To become completely focused and mindful on what you're doing, on the now moment. Meditation, going into your own mind. Then seeing, I see the other being. I see the cat, I see the deer, I see the horse. They want to live just like I do, okay? They're made out of body cells, just like my body is. I start to get attuned, okay, in that moment. So that is the training. Hollywood is unattuned. Hollywood is a sick conglomeration that is unattuned to people's bodies and needs. They're even so unattuned to their own physical needs, to their own sexual needs, to the point where they have a skeleton in their house as a wife, the trophy wife, right? Skeleton trophy wife. I only go for models. Now I hear people say that. It's also once in a while, a guy in a chat room will come in and say, "Yeah, bro, you are so much better, right?" It's all ego. It's like total ego. And then he'll come after me and then like, "Oops, I thought you only want models. Now you're talking. You want my attention, like poke, poke, poke." I ignore those men. I want nothing to do with them. I want to like throw up, when I see someone like that. And they're often Muslims, and they have absolutely total unempowerment. And it's really from a sky perspective. I can see their incredible suffering, total denial, total unconsciousness of that pain. But on the outside, the way they interact with other people is pukey, it really is. But I see this as those people also elbow themselves into Hollywood, of course. There's a lot of those. Me, and that husband of Brittany Murphy, all about like aspiring. They use this word like they use terms like leveling up. That term, leveling up, has a red bar across. It needs to be eliminated. It needs to be put in a recycling bin. Okay, you don't need to level up, okay, or down or whatever, sideways. No, you don't. Okay, you are perfectly valuable and precious just the way you are. Take care of your body, nurse yourself, okay? Be good to yourself. You are perfect. Be good to yourself. Be healthy, okay? Don't eat animals. Don't eat suffering beings. Okay? You become what you eat. So don't do these things anymore. Don't eat corpses anymore. Don't eat pus. Don't drink pus milk anymore. Just don't do it. Become healthy. Become ethical. Live in tune with the world. In tune with plants and forests. Okay? Don't light forests on fire. I keep saying this. This is so incredibly important. Don't listen to haters and peer pressurers. Don't listen to those people ever. Never ever. Walk away. If enough of those peer pressurers are being stood up and left in the dust, maybe that will get them thinking at some point, oh, maybe the paradigm has shifted, okay? Maybe people want to be on board with health and compassion and love. Brittany Murphy was all about compassion and love, catering too much to other people, too much catering to peer pressurers, giving in. That's not how we are protecting ourselves. That's not how we make the world better. She didn't know better, but she needed someone she needed a mentor to take her by the hand and say, hey, I'm gonna empower you now. Let's do some empowerment exercises. Let's do some affirmation exercises. Let's do some standing your ground exercises. That would be really necessary. Stand your ground against your mother and against this husband that weighs 300 pounds and who is contradicting himself and who is mentally ill. They're all mentally ill, of course. And then the mother. And then what's interesting, who does the husband lust for physically? The mother. Because the mother is overweight and cute, sexy, and so yeah, he'll lust for her. He doesn't even know why, right? So, and then the mother will see that, and she go like, "Oh, this is convenient." So, and then who knows what goes through her mind? Like, I'll just take him away from her, and then her jealousy and all of this will say yes to that, to taking him away. And these kind of things, they can be very unconscious. She outwardly she thinks, oh, I love my daughter, I want the best for her and all of this, but she didn't take her daughter by the hand, empower her, and say, baby, you need to eat or something. I don't think that she was thinking in this way at all, because she was thinking, oh, she gets thinner, she makes more money. She was the breadwinner in that house. Okay, she brings in more money and more fame, and that will also kind of deflect, or like shine onto her as well. So, and then she will use that, and that will, her ego becomes dependent on that. So it's all of these things, and then later on maybe thoughts come up of, oh, what if I can take that husband and we can have a real good life. And then I don't even want to say it, I you just you know what she was probably thinking. Yeah. So, or what she could have been thinking. And the husband looked extremely guilty, and this possibility that she and the husband together have coached Brittany into taking more drugs, or sneaking even these heavy metal poisons into her food, and that were detected later on by the hair sample. So now I'm getting into the conspiracy part of this, but it gets extreme, this conspiracy. It gets really crazy. So, because there's a girl that talked about this and didn't hold back in her report on that case, and I really respect people like this very, very much. Anyone who is willing to address the conspiracy and to address governmental cover-ups and governmental corrupt vested interest type of people hiring hitmen and paying someone off to sneak poisons into their food and so on. So it looks like maybe it got to the point where then later on Brittany became friends with a whistleblower from the government. And so that's when the conspiracy really got to the point where there were people in the corporate agenda that viewed the whistleblower and Brittany as a threat. They could blow the whistle at any time. They could leak out or say to someone at least what they have heard, right? That's why I don't even want to know. It would be better if I never learned about any of this. It would really be so much better. So, but I'm also glad that, obviously, that I am not famous. Fame has two sides, there's one part of me that wants to have a lot of friends and wants to constantly be mesmerized by some glitter, glam, whatever. I don't like glitter, but I mean by like mesmerizing people, interesting conversations, and so. But the other side is the dangerous side of fame. Okay, so the numbers are coming up now. The numbers are coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. Yes, it's coming up. There. 4444. Yes! That is the message from the Blue God, who says you are protected. Everything is going in a flow movement, and things are good. And Esther Hicks always says things are going the way they are going. They are flowing the way they're flowing, and sometimes they throw some rocks over. And as Mark Zuckerberg always said, move through and break things. No, thank you. I know. Don't break anyone, okay? Don't break teenage girls. So I talked about that in another video. So my main focus with my videos is not on so much on detective stories or corruption, although corruption falls into it because this is part of the human psychology. So, but my main focus is, let's try to understand more what's going on with mass peer pressure and why people are so peer pressured and why people are so easily manipulated in general, not just teenagers. So let's zoom in on that. Okay, so this is a problem, obviously. That's not well, right? When someone is that easily. So they tried to pressure me too, when I was a teenager. But I went into reverse. I ate more instead of less. So, and I became more weird and dorky. That was my way of protesting this in some way. Already, I wasn't even fully conscious about it. It was almost like an unconscious anti-communication process. My brother uses that term with me, anti-communication. He accuses me of being an anti-communicator because I don't cater to some neurotic BS. That's why. He thinks we need to cater to neurotic BS. It wouldn't matter what that neurotic BS is, It could be Islam. My brother thinks we need to cater to it. I'm sorry, I have to say it, because this is what I see, and it is very, very unwell. It's not healthy. It's very neurotic. And it makes me mad, but I give him facts. But the more facts I give him about this, the more angry he becomes. So it's better not to talk about it then. So there's no way he can peer pressure me into any of these things, into prestige or being on board with public consensus or with the popular views in the world. Yeah, we are so high class. Yeah, we are so well read. We are on board with Islam. Like, whoa, oh man, that's so in your face, retarded. But see, this is how far peer pressure goes. That's what I'm trying to get to in my videos. If peer pressure goes so far that people will be on board with beheadings and putting women, mummifying women into chadors, taping their mouths closed, and making women into concubines that are cocooned concubines that are held in basements. I mean, how much more insane can it get, right? How much more peer pressured can it get that someone will be on board with something like this? Okay. I'm just shaking you up, trying to wake you up and wake up from this trance, okay? Become aware. Don't be woke, okay? Kitty love. Don't ever be woke. They use this. They think it is woke. Or the word itself is so retarded. I mean, it's just, I don't know what to say. Is it woke? Is it aware and alert to be on board with Islam? It's like, man, if that's not like super in your face, like shaking you up, then I don't know what would. But that's how far peer pressure goes. I am shocked about this. I'm really shocked. And in that case of Brittany Murphy, it's just infinitely sad. A young woman being so loving and catering to everyone, wanting to please everyone, wanting to be liked, wanting to be wanted, wanting to be loved, wanting to be respected by all the wrong people, you know. And they're taking advantage of her. So then she was friends with a governmental whistleblower lady, and I guess incidentally just knew her, was friends with her. And that put her on the targeted list from the mafia, the corporate agenda. Okay. And then, who knows, they may have paid the mother a lot of money to get rid of her and her husband. Because the husband also started to become very paranoid. Because then he was automatically also a suspect of becoming a whistleblower. You know? So a targeted, a witness that they wanted to remove. So the husband's face is not as deceitful as the mother's. The husband has guilt in his face. So he may have had an affair with the mother already, because the mother offers that voluptuousness instead of his skeleton wife, who he wants to keep as a skeleton, because then he can, that boosts his ego, you know. He has a trophy wife, but that's not what his body wants. So that's what I'm trying to zoom in on. Okay? But then this incredible mental disconnect between, you know, the wife he has, the way he wants her to look, and what he actually wants. So if he really loved her, he wanted her to be her full self, right? Full in every meaning of the word. He wanted her to be, he would want her to be healthy and be that what her body wants to be and is. Okay? Packing on some weight, being sexy, you know, being voluptuous, being sensual. No, he keeps her as the trophy wife skeleton and goes for the sexual part to the mother. So that's what's written in his face. What's written in the mother's face is much worse. What's written in the mother's face is planning to kill her daughter. That's what I see. Long before the daughter died. So photos that she would take with her daughter, holding her in her arm, but the eyes revealing, when one iris slightly looks in a different direction than the other one. There are some neurological conditions that may do this without the deceit, okay? But in people who don't have those neurological conditions, those kind of things can indicate that there is a discrepancy inside of the mind, okay, that wants to show something on the outside that is completely different to that what she's thinking, okay, or feeling. Trying to portray a mother-daughter love, but inside of her were collaboration, middleman type of plans. on getting rid of her. Okay. So that's what I see. And so then the mother got rid of both people because I think that the corporate agenda, they can tell by looking at someone's face whether they will get that person easily into a job of being a middleman, of being a hitman, a murderer for hire. So they can tell by people's facial expressions. So they could probably tell that it would be too risky to get that husband of Brittany Murphy, to get him involved in a job like this. That husband was also taking a lot of sedatives. He would have leaked something at some point. The mother was not on any of these things, and the mother never got any of these symptoms that the other two got. So the mother looked fairly healthy, except for being a meat eater and overweight. So, but healthier in that sense. She didn't have the heavy metal poisoning that she was doing to her daughter and to the husband. But they can see with her that she is an easy collaborator. She would be great for a job like this. They can see these things. So they hired her for that. That's what my theory on it is. So when the corporate agenda, when they see someone who is famous, who had been friends or had seen someone or overheard someone's conversation or knew too much, they will go after someone like that. They will not hold back. So that is what I wanted to discuss, but really mainly with the focus on why do people get so in this mental state where they, I want to use the right words, where they just want to please other people. They forget about justice, they forget about health, ethics. They just want to please other people, forget all the other. That happens so many times. Okay? This is a real serious problem because those people become enablers of violent crimes, become enablers of severe corruption, okay, and on making the world worse, on feeding a machinery like Hollywood. They become enablers, whether they're consciously aware of it or not, whether they want that or not. Okay, so I want people to become more consciously aware about all of these things. Become aware of what other people talk about. Become aware of what talk radio hosts talk about. Well, talk radio hosts are hired for these things. I think they are trained in market psychology. That's what I personally think. They are trained in this way to put peer pressure, and they use peer pressure in very subliminal ways. They sneak this into movies, they sneak this into TV shows, into social media all the time. Okay? They will put sarcasm in it, in specific places, in order to make people feel ashamed of being part of this or that. Okay? This is what's going on. Pay attention to these things and stand your own ground for ethics and for all life on earth. Okay? You guys take care.